Hi, my name is Ben Fordery with Border States Electric in Columbia, South Carolina. My question is a little bit more on the practical side. I've been really interested in getting involved, reading a lot more books. So I wanted to ask each of you to give your best suggestion of maybe your favorite book and an explanation as to why. Really good takeaway for maybe all of us to hear what you guys really look at.
Okay, I've read a lot of books over the years, and one book that comes to mind actually has to do with networking. And it's we actually had this lady at one of our NAED Women in Industry events. Her name was Deborah Fine, and she wrote a book on the fine art of small talk. And it's a really good indicator or an advice book to help you get started in conversations. It's a step-by-step that you don't have to memorize it, but it's just to get you started on a conversation when the conversation either goes stale or you don't have anything to say, you're sitting in that awkward silence. And she says, to ask questions about, getting into the business and the personal and getting to know the person. But also she teaches you how to, connect people together in the conversation and introduce people, hey, Jill, this is John. Jill does XYZ, John does XYZ, and now they're connected. So Deborah Fine art or small talk.
I would say emotional intelligence 2.0. So very similar to what you were just saying about caring about other people, their perspective. Likability is just, it truly matters. Compassion, empathy, those things matter. And I will tell you that emotion will always trump fact. So if you don't know how to deal with that emotion, my team at nauseam hears me say things like, you need to speak into people's listening. So just because you're saying it doesn't mean that's how they're hearing it, but understanding that other side of the table, I mean, it's some basic negotiation skills, really. But being able to speak in a way that the other person hears it. So I would highly recommend Emotional Intelligence 2.0.
A couple of books come to mind for me, other than the ones I talked about earlier today. Brian Tracy is another personal development speaker, motivational guy. And he wrote a book called Eat That Frog. It was about 21 ways to overcome procrastinations and get results. Very easy read. I definitely recommend that. And then The Energy Bus with John Gordon. John Gordon's another excellent speaker who eventually, hopefully, will get here to one of our conferences. But that's another quick, easy read that leaves you thinking about how can I apply that in my life. And then for any dads of daughters out there, my favorite book in the realm of parenting is What a Difference a Daddy Makes, the indelible imprint a father leaves on a daughter's life. So that's Kevin Lehman.
Ben, to honestly answer your question, my favorite book is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But since you probably were asking from a business perspective, I'll mention two. Winning by Jack Welch. Jack Welch ran General Electric to new heights, and a lot of people who know Jack today kind of know the back half of his career, which was full of accolades and full of success, without really looking back in the history and seeing the front part of his career. And he's got a lot of great. He's got a lot of great advice around really how to, like Jill said, be competitive and how to win, right? And a lot of good thoughts on leadership in terms of, how perceived action, how a leader may be perceived as opposed to intent. And then another book I love from an old Purdue University alum who went on to lead UCLA to a record number of championships is John Wooden's Be Quick, but Don't Hurry, and how to move very, very fast, but never lose control of what you're trying to do. And he's got a lot of great how to deal with star performers and, how to deal with, a team that's gone off track and how to work together as a team. It's a fantastic book.
One additional thing I'd like to add to that, too, is that it doesn't necessarily have to be a book. One of the ways that has helped me in my career is to turn my car into a university. So if I'm in my car, I'm listening to audible.com, trying to read the latest book or listen to the latest book. So if you can maximize your time, or if you're on a treadmill, you can listen to a podcast. That's a great way to increase your education and not have to just read.
Hi. Ryan Rooney with Omni Cable. Thank you, Vito. I question, all four of you have already accomplished a lot in your careers. How do you stay hungry? And do you have another level? Is there another level in your professional career that you seek to achieve? And if so, what is it?
I can go ahead and start with that. Well, as having 4 daughters, I have to stay hungry because we have college and weddings and those kind of things. So I may be around for a long time, for a while. But at this point in my career, it's more about the reward of developing other people and recognizing strengths and skills that I see in other people that they may not see in themselves. And there's a personal satisfaction that comes with seeing people rise to their true potential. So while I enjoy what I'm doing, the real thrill is to help people at this point along the way get to where they want to be and maybe avoid some of the mistakes that I made early on in my career.
Yeah, I have a 6-year-old, so yeah, college, all that good stuff. So that's one way I stay hungry. I would also say I'm kind of a change junkie. So I like change. I like to do things different. I've only been in this industry for 6 years. They mentioned that I come out of the healthcare industry. I've actually only been in my current role for 3.5 years. I actually have a 15-year career in HR. Before finding a mentor, and that actually kind of groomed me to be in the position I'm in right now. So I did all that because we have to change, right? Our industry, some of the response to the 5 and 10-year question continues to be about technology and us staying relevant. And some of that is going to be change within this industry. I like to disrupt things pleasantly, but I like to do that and bring change about, so that some of that is my competitiveness and how I stay hungry. What else can we do? What can we do a little differently that we didn't do yesterday?
Well, at ABB, we have performance evaluations every year. Actually, we do them two times a year. And in our performance evaluations, we have to identify the next position that we want to be in. So my next move would be, I'm in channel development today. And I do have the territory of the United States and a few target accounts that I'm working with, but it would be the channel management position within the company would be my next goal, and that's what I have in my performance evaluation, is to be. But we always set that out, and then it's reviewed by the manager, and then he also identifies positions that he or she would see in me, and they would recommend positions that I would be. Really, based on my talent, experience, and knowledge, that I would be, in the next 2 to 5 years, that they would consider putting me in. So it goes both ways. I also identify the one I want to be in, but my manager will also identify a few others that I may want to consider going down my career path.
It's a great question, and the story of my career, which I think would mirror a lot of people's, it isn't linear. When I was, first out of university and hungry to tackle the world and a fair bit arrogant, if I do say so, it was all about career and whatever. And I had a plan and a path. And if the company said jump, I said how high and tried to go higher. And it was kind of personal life aside, right? And then I went through a period where, hey, I wanted to just kind of settle down in one area. So I had a conversation with my company, and I moved over, laterally and kind of set some roots and really got entrenched in some different functions. And it was good for me personally, and it was good for me professionally. And then I had a couple more jumps back on to the career chain, and it was really about mentoring and building skill sets, a lot like Jill said. So you're going to go through phases in your career and phases of your life, and there's going to be good times to make, where 90% of your life is going to be your career, and there's going to be other times where it's got to be a balance of 50-50, and I think every person goes through those types of things, and you've got to make sure that there's work, that there's good balance. I also think that work-life balance isn't necessarily how much time you spend in one or the other, but are you enjoying what you're doing? Are you passionate about it? And are you spending time at what's important to you, important to your value system?
We've got a question over here.
Jessica Richardson with Eaton. And John, you touched on this, but we often talk about what we do at work to make us stronger. What are some things that you do in your personal life that make you a stronger individual?
Just deadlifts, mad reps. No, I don't.
So in my personal life, I am a hockey mom of two boys. So to get back to that other question, to stay hungry, my hockey tuition is quite expensive, so I need to stay on top of that. But for me to stay in my personal life, I am a big runner. I am training to do a couple marathons. I want to get them done. I set the goal to do marathons. I thought I was only half crazy because I've only done half marathons, but I think I'm going to be full crazy here pretty soon. And I also do trail runs. I'm scheduled to do a 19-mile trail run coming up in September. And I've already done an 18-1 prior to this. In March, I guess I did that one. So to keep me going motivationally, I actually exercise in the evening because depending on my day, it's a good stress relief for me. But, my kids keep me going. My kids keep me strong because my goal in my life for my children is I want them to be more successful than me. And I want them to see that you can do anything that you put your mind and soul to. And I just want to show them that they can do whatever they feel like they can do. And as their mom, I just encourage them to just keep going and don't stop.
I want to touch base back on the work-life comment, work-life balance, and I agree. It's that is what I do, is manage that, but not by the hours. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. So it's not about whether I spent this much time at work or this much time at home, and I travel quite a bit. But I do my very best to be there for the important things. I don't miss anything. I might miss a soccer game on a weekend, some of those things, but I've never missed a recital. I've never missed big moments, and I've had that conversation with my boss and my employer. They know that that's important to me. I need that flexibility. I'll get on an airplane tomorrow, but if at all cost, if I need to be somewhere with my family, then that's where I need to be, and that's even my extended family. I have aging parents and that have health concerns, and if I need to be, and I'm mobile, we can work anywhere these days, right? I mean, my laptop's open in a hospital room, my laptop's open on my couch, I'm always accessible. But having that flexibility and that family time, that is what recharges me to go back in and do it again.
Yeah, and for me, that personal time with family, I need to be in the moment because we're all faced with so many distractions, other things that we can think about. But no matter what I'm doing with my girls or my wife, just to be there in that moment, and then also be involved in my kids' schools, volunteer, and let them know that that's important to me, that what they're doing is important to me, and advocate for them when needed. If I need to speak up for them, then I'll speak up for them and encourage them to speak up for themselves as well. One other thing, too, is and I'd recommend this to you, is to volunteer. If there's an organization that's close to your heart, or if you're new to a community, find out where you can give your time. And you don't need to tell anybody about it. Just go go do it and make an impact. And there are so many good organizations looking for assistance and for help, whether it's on a board of directors or a volunteer committee. One of the ones that was close to my heart for a number of years before I moved out of the area was a shelter for homeless and abused pregnant teen girls. And I eventually became board treasurer there, and we were able to build them an addition onto their home that was a 60-year-old home that made it larger and more comfortable and a better setting for these girls to learn and continue their high school education and graduate and achieve the goals that they've set for themselves. So get involved in the community. I highly recommend that.